It's Thursday, 24th of October, 2024, and in this evening's show, we are discussing the alarming plummet in form as Blackpool record a hat-trick of defeat since the last pod, culminating in a frankly embarrassing performance at Peterborough on Saturday, as we shipped 5 goals, and it probably should have been more. I'm John Aspinall, and this is the Seasiders Podcast Extra Time Show, Honeymoon period over. Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the Seasiders Podcast on a Thursday evening extra time show. We've got two in the panel, rather, in addition to me this evening. We've been let down, that's why we're late. So thankfully, we've got Brad in a nice... I can describe his room that he's in. He's got a grand piano. He's got
looks like a Hilton hotel. It's in the Hilton hotel.
Has it got a Corby trouser press?
I've made it, Raggy. I've made it.
Absolutely. No expense spared by the podcast.
He's probably been hobnobbing with directors and owners and custodians of football clubs. Hey, Raggy.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, John. Hey, John. How you doing, John?
How the other half live these days, eh?
Funny enough, I've been banished into the last room of the house, so I am not turning my back screen off.
That's the last room in your house? Dear me.
Yep.
What's your house, Buckingham Palace?
Well, you get lost when you've got 17 rooms.
Are you aware of the concept of virtual backgrounds, Raggy, on StreamYard?
Oh, it's...
Oh, true. I have had a drink, John, though. I've told you this. Look, I've had a drink. I'm not quite with it. I've got my own virtual background here.
Yeah, we've got a podcast first this evening. Raggy's coming live from the Armfield. We are planning to do one at some point, but yeah, Raggy's just testing things out this evening. How's it going? You're in the back room. Was it the war room? Andy called it until you refurbed it.
It was originally going to be the war room, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But the LCN now, the La Cosa Nostra bar.
It's actually quite good in there, Maggie. I was in there recently, and yeah, a good pint in there. I enjoyed a game of darts with my sister.
Yes.
After the which game was it? Barnsley, and we played a game around the clock, and you have to finish on double top.
Yeah, I remember you were still here at 4 a.m. trying to get out. I know. Yeah.
I actually said, let's just give up. I think she hit it next door or something. So yeah, it's quite funny. Right, we've got quite a bit to catch up on since the last show. There's been the international break, and there's been 3 games since we last came on. The first off, we lost 2-0 at Mansfield. Brad, come to you first in kind of your neck of the woods there. I guess quite a sorry performance, really. Down 1-0 down after 8 minutes, and 2-0 down after 39 minutes, and we just did not turn up.
I think one word I would call it is pathetic. That's just a warm up for me. But no, I just think we didn't. We'll cover a lot into it, but I would say the Mansfield game was probably the start of what was to come, really, because of how they played, how they didn't execute their chances, because they did have chances. There's no doubt about that. But it's that man Fletcher. I gave the guy a chance, and he just did not perform. And I don't know how many more chances that guy needs to have, to be fair. Casey had a good game in consideration, but surprised about Joseph, to be fair. I don't think Joseph had enough support that he needed. But then again, Mansfield, we did have the possession though. That's the thing that I'm boggled about is the fact that we had the possession, we just couldn't execute, and Mansfield just got us at the end of the day. It all matters is what the goals are, and if the ball goes in the back of the net, it's a goal and it's done.
Raggy, how does Fletcher keep starting in football, and how has he made it a professional footballer? Went to the same school as Dom Thompson, maybe.
He's slightly better than Dom Thompson. That's how he's made it. But I'm not hung up on Fletcher too much. He is what he is. He's a big lump, and he can cause you damage if you play him in the right ways. Not a goal scorer though. His lifelong statistics will tell you that. But the Mansfield game that's followed on since is absolutely the show of. If we get one player injured or suspended, we have nobody else even near their quality. The first 11, there's no doubt in my mind, the first 11 are well capable of promotion. There's 4 or 5 of them players would get into Birmingham's team in our first 11. But if you have to replace one of them, so Mansfield was Ballard, we do not have anyone else even nearly capable. So we're ultimately weaker straight away as soon as we try and change the team. Now, I'm hoping that in the meantime, between now and January, when I'm expecting to sign a couple of more players under Steve Bruce, that he finds a way with his experience to manage this team as and when we've got injuries and suspensions. Because you take Ballard out one game, you take Hamilton out another game, we're just missing. There's nobody else. And people can say what they want about Hamilton. He's got ridiculous pace. Well, as soon as we haven't got that, they tie Apter up on the other wing with nothing.
Yeah,
and
husband
it's plainly obvious to me that
well.
We've got 11 great players. Who, sorry?
Saying Husband came in for Hayden Coulson, and obviously Coulson's got a bit of pace, but
not the same player. Coulson's been playing great at fullback, great, but he's not a fullback, but he's been playing great there. But Saturday's game just gone. Tuesday's game just gone. Especially with Steve Agnew's comments later on, it seemed to be like they found their right hand side as a bit of a weakness, a bit of somewhere to exploit. Why we didn't play Coulson on the left wing and put Ashworth left back, I don't know. Very strange. But before all that, we have to say about Steve Bruce, and he's had horrendous news, and that's going to affect everybody. So in the light of that, nothing really matters in the sense of it. It's only football matches. We haven't had the boss there. Things can go pear-shaped. People can feel a bit down, and I get it. And it's the way it is. And that's what we all hope, that it's only that. And I'm sure it is. But, best wishes to Steve and condolences to him and his family, because it's horrific, isn't it? And, we talk about football matches. It don't mean anything when that kind of thing comes along. So, it could just be a part of that, because when he's back and he's firing and he's thinking, and I'm sure he's going to come up with some formations for us to work with the players we've got. But in that sense, that's just what I feel. Is 11 players we've got are well capable. After that, though, I don't think we've got a 12th person to come in to even shore it up. I just think we are where we are with 11 good first team players.
If one's gone,
we're just, the game plan sort of goes, because that's so weak, that area. It shows up. Take Evans out, what have we got? Take Hamilton out, what have we got? Take Ballard out, what have we got? We the replacement's not even nearly good enough. But whether that's a product of signing players for the old formation that Critchball wanted to play, and now we're stuck with it.
Yeah, it is Raggy, isn't it? It's the fact that.
But that's where we hope that Steve Bruce, with his experience, comes up with different ways of playing to manage us through till we can sign 3 or 4 more players that do fit in, that do make our bench strong. Let's just hope it comes out, and we're still in there with a chance when January comes.
Brad, so let's move on to the Barnsley game. As Maggie's just said there, we were missing personnel. Who'd have thought we'd have been in a situation where everyone's moaning that CJ's not in the starting 11 and unfit? But
Yeah.
was that the
Yeah,
game,
but
the Barnsley game, when we should have changed formation, changed it around a bit rather than stick to this rigid 4-4-2.
You have to remember with
formation.
CJ though, with Hamilton though, you have to remember when he's played right, when he's played in the correct manner, he's dangerous. There's nobody going to beat him for pace. He's not the greatest footballer in the world, otherwise he'd be playing in the Champions League. But his pace will, when they play it right. So he is a big loss, because I think in the first 4 games under Steve Bruce, 3 or 4 games, he was played exactly how he was played, and he was a dangerous player for us, with nobody else with even near that pace. So when we have to replace him, it doesn't
We've always
work.
said I agree with you, Raggy. He's an established League One player. You know, obviously when he gets the Championship, he does struggle, but we know that he's been a proven League One player that got us promotion. You know, and he's one of those players that you can rely upon if he's played in the right way. But if you overwork him, injuries will start to come. And, you know, this league is absolutely relentless. You know, I said it a couple of weeks ago. This league is probably the hardest one in the pyramid at the moment because of the teams that we've got in there. You know, so whether it's an in-week game, it doesn't matter if the team's at the bottom, whether it's Mansfield or it's, you know, against Wrexham. You know, we've got to make sure that we've got the depth. Now, I will blame Sadler for the recruitment. I will blame him wholeheartedly because he did not support the manager at the time, which was Critch. Okay, Steve, I give credit for what he did at the start and getting the win streak that he did with the players that he had was fantastic. Is the wheels kind of falling off a little bit? Yes, because we've got injuries, we've got suspensions that we've had to deal with. Suspensions can be sorted through discipline, but when it comes to injuries, we've always had that philosophy of we'll pick an injury-prone player, and if we can get a good 6 to 7 months out of him, that's a bonus for us. You know, unfortunately, the winter's starting to come, and we're going to get injuries come through.
Yeah, I can agree. I agree with that. I just, like I say, I'm just hoping that Steve Bruce, with his experience, can find ways around it. We've stumbled across 11 great players, or 11 players that make a good team, as far as I'm concerned, in this division. But that's it. After that, very average. But with a good manager and good. Sorry, John.
So I'm just going to say the Barnsley game itself was probably the least inspiring game so far under Steve Bruce. Obviously, Steve wasn't there for the reasons we've mentioned previously.
Yeah, it can be forgiven under the circumstances.
Yeah, I think it was a big miss not having him there.
Yeah, and it will be. You can't take that experience out of a club and out of a team and not expect something to be different. But it is what it is. Like I say, it's hard to go too hard on everybody because of the events. It is what it is. Who knows how they all feel? Who knows how big an impact Steve Bruce has? And when he's not on there, totally different. But not the excuses Tuesday night at Peterborough, because that was bottleless by a fair few players, I think. But,
yeah. Brad, the Barnsley game, we were okay in spells. Quite sort of a uneventful, almost tepid first half and in the build up to that, but we came to life not long after. Oh, Nick's here is good. We came to life not long after we scored. We should have scored. Jordan Rhodes missed an absolute sitter, and we really looked like they were a team that was going to go and win. We had a really serious period of pressure for 15 minutes, and we didn't score, and we've unfortunately been undone right at the death by a goal that we seem to be conceding consistently throughout this season, which is just a ball into the box, and it's just not been dealt with yet again. And what an absolute sickener, particularly coming after the Lincoln last gasp equaliser as well at the last home game.
I think it's something that we're exposed about, and I think the league knows about that. I want the team to go forward. I want them to go for it, because even if we're losing or we're drawing and we're going for it, then happy days. But when we'll talk more about it with the Peterborough game, but when there is a counter, we seem to not be able to react, and that is a big problem that we have got at the moment. We can have all the possession in the world, and I know with the Barnsley game we had 45% possession, and we tried to give it a go. 55% even. I'm looking at Barnsley, so apologies. We had technical difficulties. Literally, we should have got a goal out of that, and I think we huffed and we puffed, and we just couldn't get anything out of it. And we, like you said, we came undone at the end. And it just deflated the team, and it just shot them of confidence.
Nick's joined us. Thanks, Nick, for coming off the bench very quickly. Thanks for joining us.
Super sub. Dom Thompson's here. Everything's all right now.
I don't know if it is, because I'm packing for moving house. So thanks to my better half for
moving with Brad. He's got 17 rooms there. Look at him.
Yeah, that
Barnsley game.
Thankfully, Nick didn't pack the mic and the headphones. So well in, Faye. But away you go, Nick. Sorry.
We have packed the battery for this laptop though, so if I disappear, you know why. Yeah, it was a sickener, wasn't it? After we got back into it, and you think, right, we'll see it out for a point. It's not a bad result, because I thought they were a fairly decent side, to be fair. And then that happens on a corner, and it. Yeah.
Although, sorry to just jump in, Nick. We should have took the point, and I thought that the substitutions were just bizarre to take off. Was it Morgan he brought off? I'm saying at the time.
Yeah, we ended up with quite a few forwards, didn't we? Towards the end, which I can sort of see as the home team, and you're trying to get a win on
Fletcher
on the
for
back
Morgan. That was it. That was the one that did me.
On the back of a couple of disappointing results prior to the Barnsley game, so I can sort of see it. And had we gone and got the win, we would always saying it was great. But yeah, I can see both sides, that having got back into it, we should have maybe tried to just take the point. But like I say, as the home team, there's a little bit of you want to try and go for it as well. And it was a weird goal, because I don't know how much of a clean contact he got on it, and I've watched the highlights as well, and I can't quite tell whether it just sort of, I don't know, comes off him at a bit of a weird angle, because it was just like a really sort of slow looping header, wasn't it? And just kind of ended up with a player and the keeper sort of in the back of the net along with the ball, unfortunately.
Let's have a look at this comment from Dave Jenkins. Dave said it doesn't help that the keeper is stuck to his line when corners and crosses come in. I think it's a valid point, Dave, and it's a worry, I think, with tiring that compared to Grimshaw. He does seem to be making quite a lot of errors.
Yeah, I'll jump in. It's I noticed that. I don't. You've probably covered the Mansfield game. I went and was right behind the goal, and I was surprised how quiet he was for a keeper. Kind of not really sort of coming out and giving a shout and commanding his 6-yard box, if you like. And I do think it's something that, he's a young lad at the end of the day. But yeah, it does seem to be a little bit lacking that presence from him when you've got set pieces, and as a defender, you know what your keeper's going to do. He's going to come out, and even if he clatters a couple of players, the chances are, as a keeper, you get the benefit of the doubt. I do think that's a side of his game that he perhaps needs to work on. Yeah.
So yeah, another absolute sickener at Bloomfield Road, but we had a chance to make amends at London Road. I don't know what it's called these days. Another sponsored game, but unfortunately, Blackpool lost this game 5-1. What did you just describe that earlier, Maggie? As a disgrace.
Well, it is a disgrace, isn't it? In terms of football, some things with that game. We started off well, and Ballard missed a chance that you can't miss.
Yep.
And that sets the tone, doesn't it? I mean, he's a good player, but he's missed a chance there that's got to go in.
He's missed
And
a
when
lot
you
of
do
chances
that-
this season, Raggy. For me, he's missed
He
far
has,
too many
but-
chances.
He has, but we've not got natural goal scorers, have we? We're bringing players in. They're good, but Ballard and Joseph clearly have to be up there for us up front. And when we take one of them two out, it's nothing. Nothing in comparison, anyway. I mean, Beasley, I always say, this is not the best player in the world, but he does score goals unless you put him on the wing, which is very, very. Appleton did it. Appleton did it at Hull City on Boxing Day a few years ago, which was just ridiculous then. And someone else has tried it. I mean, maybe he's a great winger in training. I don't know, but he's definitely not a great winger in match play. But not his fault in a lot of senses, because that's where he gets asked to play. Made all the more bizarre by Steve Agnew's comments of something along the lines of, we targeted that left-hand side. We thought we'd get some joy down it. Well, why didn't we put Hayden Coulson at left wing and put Ashworth at left back, if that's where we thought we could get some joy?
Even Apter, he's left-footed. Just shift him
even
across there.
Anything. But this is and that exactly when we haven't got two wingers playing properly, Apter can get taken out of the game easily because they just cover that wing and they've not got much to worry about on the other side. But yeah, in terms of Ballard, Joseph, Ballard missed that chance. Can't miss it. Joseph, by the way, exception to the rule the other night. He was brilliant. He tried everything he could do the other night. And I would imagine he went off that pitch fuming because he seemed to put it in far more than other players. I'm not saying no one tries. I'm sure they all try, but not as much as he was doing the other night.
Joseph was the most upset player after the Barnsley goal went in.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know if you know.
The guy wears his heart.
He was
wears his heart on
absolutely
his sleeve.
fuming. Yeah, he was
he wears
punching
his
the
heart on his
floor
sleeve.
almost. He was devastated, wasn't he?
Yeah, it's one of the things he gives 100% all of the time, which should be a minimum for everybody. But it doesn't work out like that, does it? Some players do and some players don't. And I think he probably struggles with how players can't just at least try everything. But something went drastically wrong on Tuesday night. Drastically wrong with the formation, the players picked, how they approached the whole games. Not Tuesday, I was talking about against Peterborough.
I think for me,
Tuesday,
John, yeah, it was Raggy, yeah.
Yeah. Confusing me, John. Saturday.
Yeah, sorry, it was Barnsley, wasn't it? Yeah, sorry, yeah.
So yeah, that was the something drastically wrong. But I will say that Anoma, if that's how we pronounce his name, in midfield, clearly against Barnsley. Oh well, misnomer. But they have he clearly a good player. Came on against Barnsley, a good player, but after 10 minutes against Barnsley, gave away 3 or 4 fouls because he was not up to speed and couldn't get there, and he kept giving fouls because he was clearly unfit after 10 minutes. So to start him ahead of other players, just to start, it was just that was it. It was weird, and then whether I was watching the game wrong or not, if people were to watch it back, it seemed to me like one of our plans in that game was to bypass the midfield anyway. As if we haven't got a strong midfield, we'll just bypass the central midfield. Nothing seemed to go through it in the first 15, 20 minutes to me. Maybe I read it wrong, but...
I think the big problem for me was, Evans being out. It showed what a massive miss he is because he's the one who comes and receives the ball off the defence, makes everything tick, everything goes through him. And without that, you could see we were giving it to fullbacks or centre half, and they were like, right, now what do we do? And Morgan, to be fair, he's not in there to play the midfield enforcer role. And with Onuma alongside him, like you say, the lack of fitness, and it's a difficult one because that will have done him good in terms of fitness, but it's at the expense of that result, on Tuesday night. Yeah. And without Evans, there was so little protection for the defence. And yeah, I thought Gabriel and Coulson, didn't cover themselves in glory, but at the same time, there was absolutely no cover from the defence whatsoever. And you've got two very, very tricky wingers or pacey players for Peterborough, and they actually took, they absolutely tore us apart down the wing, and it could easily have been, probably a couple more than it ended up being. And we know that there isn't the strength in depth, but like you say, I think you could even put Joseph played out wide before and done okay. I remember against Bristol Rovers, he was away.
Put him
He
in
was
the
out on
three,
the left, and he and put him in a three. So I think we could have done better with the with the starting formation. At
But how
least.
do you not play Coulson? Following Steve Agnew's comments after the game of we thought there was joy to be had down their left wing or their right back side. He said something along them lines. I can't remember word for word. How do you not play Coulson a left winger at left wing then, and put Ashworth at left back? How do you go with? We think there's a weakness at their right back, so we'll play Jake Beasley on the left. How does that? How does that even come out?
Team selection and formation was an absolute joke.
I know, but I'm trying to understand. I know, and I know we've all got our ideas on formation of the teams, but how does that come about? How does Steve Agnew, Keogh, Dobby say, I think Jake can do that job? We've identified a weakness, and I think Jake Beasley's the man to exploit their fullback. But that's the question, isn't it? And I find that bizarre. But,
although he did have an assist. He created a goal, didn't he, from the left wing? So
he did, to be fair. But I think if you're playing him, you're playing through the centre, and someone said in the comments, the other thing you could have done is brought Pennington in and even played a Fire. It's not his natural position, but he's got something about him. He'd have probably done a better job in the midfield role as well in the centre. So I think
Carey would have done an Oma. The guy's not fit
in a three.
He's not fit. But I thought that on Saturday. After 10 minutes, this guy's not fit. So why would you then go? I know what you're saying. You've got to play players to get match fitness, but that's beyond match fitness. I'm pretty sure I could play for 10 minutes. Even after all this vodka Red Bull I've had tonight, I could probably have a good 10 minutes and have a right good goal.
Drinking the rocket fuel.
Well, it's something that's a disastrous team selection.
Omar should have been on.
Totally wrong.
Omar should have been on at 78. It's not taken off. He's not fit.
Yeah.
He needs to be at the end of the game. The way they did that formation was absolutely shocking. And Tony's completely right in what they're saying. But Beasley's only looking good because he was overcompensating for Omar. Or Onamar. I don't. Pronunciations is not my forte. I'm not going to lie. But I just thought it was all wrong. And Gabriel, I think that's a hard score for him, to be fair, because he was having to do everything in that corner.
He was, but he did some. I mean, I think it was the third goal. I think, but it might have been the second goal. They were running down the left wing, and I was screaming, "Get over there!" He was just running back, just backed all the way off into the box. It's strange. I don't know. Very, very strange.
Let's pick a few points out of the game then. Obviously, we were 2-0 down after 17 minutes, but Brad, I don't think we deserved to be 2-0 down. We had Ballard's disallowed goal, Ballard's sitter that he's missed.
That was the one.
Had two chances and put both away. But we were the better team the first 20 minutes.
Oh, 100%, John. Literally, the first 20 minutes was absolutely unbelievable, and I was feeling really, really good about it. The first goal that got disallowed, I was absolutely gutted. But I thought, right, okay, that's the first step that we need to be. We know we can score a goal. Let's try and do it again. And then when we miss that sitter, you just think, oh God, it's not going to be one of those nights, is it? And then when they've scored the goals and the way they did it, the guys just literally, their heads just dropped. You might as well got a brick from Blackpool Tower and watch it go down, because that's exactly how they performed after that. And it took them ages to get themselves back in the game. And then as soon as they get the confidence, they slip up at the back. And the back four was horrendous. Honestly, you might as well give them clown shoes. They would have defended a hell of a lot better. I've got some in the wardrobe. Do you know what I mean?
We've got back in the game on 27 minutes. Good work from Joseph. Great goal from Joseph. After good work from Beasley. So you think, right, this is a moment. We've been chucked a lifeline here, frankly. And Nick, how can we get from a position where we're on the attack from a corner? We we looked like we were running in treacle compared to them. Was it Anoma trying to chase their lad down the down the
well,
right
he
side?
will do, won't he? Because he's not match fit. And like I say, I have a degree of sympathy with the defence in terms of the lack of cover in front of them. But yeah, it was that third goal was so frustrating because, like you say, we've just got back into it. And I was listening to the commentary, and I think it was Glenn Little on co-coms with Chizzy, and he was saying, you know, Blackpool have looked quite decent going forward, and we get back into it, and you think, right, okay, let's try and keep it for the next 5 or 10 minutes at least, you know, even if it's at 2-1, and then from a corner, was it 10 seconds later, it's in the back of the net, and they just tore us apart with the pace, and it's game over, unfortunately, by half time, isn't it? Really, really frustrating, that third goal.
Did anyone think we were gonna come back into the game in the second half? I actually listened on their comms, and they were all saying, "Oh, it's a dangerous score to be 2 up. It's a dangerous score." I was thinking, "Oh, fucking hell, not the way we're playing." As Tony.
No, but you never see that when you're losing, do you? You never see it as a dangerous score when you're losing. You only see it dangerous when you're winning. But I don't.
As Tony said there, Raggy, the squad is full of slow pedestrian players, and we've got nothing on the bench that can make a difference, and that's the problem at the moment.
They're average players, average League One, League Two players. But our first 11. I mean, you can't tell me that Afire, Evans, Joseph wouldn't get into Birmingham's team. They'd get in there if they were playing in that club. And we've got other players that would be on the fringe. I mean, I'm using Birmingham as an example because I think they're likely going to win the league. And we've got players that would get in their side. And our first 11, most of our first 11 would go and get in some of the top teams' side. We've got it. It's just, you take the first 11, what you think, which we probably all think similar players. Who do you replace them with when they go? You know, who do you replace Ballard with when he's injured? Fletcher, Beasley, right? And then you've got Rhodes, which it's a shame for Rhodes really because it doesn't look like he's going to get another goal ever. But
it looks like he's
the
gone.
way
It looks like he's gone to me, Raggy. His legs
yeah,
are
but
gone.
whether that's because we changed tactics and everything like that, and whether the old tactics, even though they didn't work for the whole team, worked for him. I don't know. But
what?
We haven't got anyone to replace Ballard, Nippy, Pacey. We haven't got anyone. Then you take Hamilton out. Who do you then put on the wing? You haven't got anyone. You can maybe move Coulson up. Then you've got to find the fullback position. But who do you take? Apter out. Who do we put in? Take Evans out. Who's there? There's no one there. Take a Fire out now. Who do you put in? Who's even remotely near to that guy? We haven't got anyone that's even close. The person that comes in is bang average. So it's a squad depth level, and like I say, whether this is the result of what Neil Critchley wanted to sign, and we signed this squad of players for his system, or whether we're just not signing players good enough because we're not willing to pay the money. I won't say we can't afford it. We've got a £500 million owner. We can afford all sorts, but whether we're paying them enough money for players, like you say, getting injury-prone players. I mean, let's be fair. Anoma has been signed because we've no one else to sign. We have a chance to sign a free agent who's probably a very good footballer. He's not fit. If he's not fit, probably got some sort of issues where he's not a great trainer. Because how can you just go out and get fit, wouldn't you, if you were that kind of way inclined? But we've signed him because he's a good player, but there's no one else we can sign at this moment in time, so we might as well have another player on the books.
Okay, so what are the reasons? What are the reasons for this then? Tony's also put in the chat there. Recruitment team are useless, stealing a living, but gents.
Well, let's start. Well, listen.
Does this boil back to the fact that Neil Critchley was sacked 2 games into the season, and it's not given Steve Bruce the squad of players that he wants at this stage of the season, then he can't do anything about it.
Well, of course. Well, Steve Bruce can't get anyone else other than what he's got, can he? But let's not. We won't say people are a waste of space. We'll be respectful to everyone. They've got jobs and roles to run, right? But have we got the best people at this football club for this football club? Not a chance in a million years. No chance. Swansea Julian, not good enough chief exec. Hardly ever at this football club. You never hear from him. Does nothing for promoting the team, the club, the town. Who's beyond that? David Downs. Seemingly the odd player, but every player that comes in someone seems to link something to his past. Oh, he knows him from there. He knows him from there. He's brought him in from here. But he's under instruction, I should imagine, as well for restraints on wages and fees. And is this the best we can get? Maybe they're bringing in the best we can get.
Raggy, I'm not being funny, man. You know, the recruitment is just shit. There's no two ways about it. You know, the way it all is, you know, and I put it down to the one man at the top, and that's bloody Sadler. Now, I don't...
Well, that's where...
that's what it comes down to, Raggy. You know,
I'm going there. Yeah, absolutely. I'm going there. I'm not getting away from the...
Get the Raggy on.
This is where it is. It becomes from the man from the top, because the man at the top dictates everything that goes on in this football club. It's clear to me, and should be clear to everyone, that guy rules the roost. Nothing happens in that football club without his say-so. He oversees things. I'm sure he appoints people to do things for him, but he will always have the final say. And to me, he's appointed some people over his tenure that aren't good enough. Whether that's through cost or naivety, I don't know. But yeah, if it sits with him, of course it does. And I'd like to know from Simon Sadler what the intentions are for the next few years of Blackpool Football Club. I want to know, is he going to put enough money in for us to stage a real challenge to get promoted, to build a stand, to look to the future of training grounds, or is his time at this football club coming to an end? And listen, I like Simon Sadler. I've met Simon Sadler. He invited me through Higgy over to a game recently. Brilliant. Get on with him. He's great. He's a nice guy. I'm sure he's got the best intentions for the football club at heart. No doubt about it. But do his ambitions to where he can take this football club lie with the fans' ambitions? I'm not sure. And it's easy to say when it's someone else's money, but we need someone to drive this club forward, not just sustain it as it is. Because if we're sustaining as we are, we're going backwards. We've seen it. It's happened over the last 2 years, 3 years. We've sustained our model and it's taken us backwards. We've sat still and we've gone backwards. And we're going to continue to go backwards until somebody decides we're going to have a proper game plan in this club and town to grow this club and let it realise its potential. Now, maybe he thinks it's at his potential and that's it. Wants to get out. I hear all sorts of stuff. I haven't said this to him, but you hear all sorts about consultants being in there. The consultancy firm in there, by the way, is the consultancy firm that sold Derby County. So make of that what you will. And what's that all about? I just want to know. Just want to know, what is it all smoke and mirrors? Is it set up for the sale of the club in the future? So therefore, we're just picking up what we can now. And I don't want anyone to think for 1 second I'm ungrateful to him. Absolutely not. He's done great things for the club. Set it absolutely in a good position. Stabled it all at a time when we was all in turmoil. And done wonderful things. But where are we going from here? We're going to go backwards. And I'll go on about the 5 million again every season. 5 million, 5 million, 5 million. I don't know the finances, and that's obviously, he's not going to say it if it's not happening, I wouldn't have thought. But that equates to us being £20 million in debt at the moment in time, Blackpool Football Club. So in 10 years' time, are Blackpool Football Club £70 million in debt? It's always been my question. And if so, then we're gone. And if so, how's that happened? We're going to be £70 million in debt in 10 years' time. It's spending £5 million a year more than we need to against the club. Don't know. We're not going anywhere. Everyone knows it. Everyone feels it. We're not moving forward. We're just where we are. And we've now become a bang average League One side.
Yep.
That's what we've become. So we've become from a bang average Championship side to a bang average League One side in 2 seasons. And
Is this season, gents, to the room? Do you think this season's done already in terms of us reaching the playoffs or getting promoted?
No,
because of because of League One's League One. Anything can go on. We've got capabilities, haven't we?
We have.
And Steve Bruce, hopefully.
Let's say, Reggie, Carl Joseph gets injured and he's out till Christmas. We're fucked.
Well,
we're done.
I'll just remain. Well, of course, but I'll remain with the 11 players again. Of course, if any one of them gets injured, as they have over the last 3 games, why we've seen what we've seen. With nothing else to do.
Key players in key positions. We've lost 3 in a row.
Well, I will give it the caveat of Steve Bruce has not been here, and we.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Would
and
Steve
it can be
Bruce
tough on
have made a
everybody.
difference?
So,
to the room then, would Steve Bruce's presence made a difference?
Well, he has to do. Otherwise, what's the point in being manager? Has to make a difference.
Nick, and your general thoughts on what's going to happen between now and until Christmas?
I think it massively depends on how many of that first 11 stay fit and available. Inevitably, there will be injuries, there'll be suspensions, etc. It's almost just kind of limping along until we can get to the January transfer window. And I say this in every transfer window, it's absolutely massive and it never seems to change. January isn't necessarily it isn't the best time to be signing players because nobody certainly wants to let the best ones go. But at least we can hopefully maybe shift a few on and get some more strength in depth in terms of positions to be able to play. If he's going to carry on with a 4-4-2, and I've no reason to think he won't do, to get some more players in those key positions. So you're looking at, out wide particularly, because as soon as we've got a winger injured, then that 4-4-2 is massively limited. But also as well, perhaps if you wanted to tweak it a bit, some players with a little bit of pace if you were going to a 4-3-3 or whatever it might be. I mean, it's certainly not over. I mean, God, 3-4 games ago, we were all... It was HMS Pistol League, wasn't it? So you can't go completely the other way, as disappointing as it has been. But you look the other night, if Evans is in there, if CJ's in there, it's potentially a different story. I'm not saying we go there and win, but I don't think we get beat 5-1 at the same time. So, yeah, there's loads of time to go. We'll just have to see what happens in January. And going back to the the recruitment and it being on the man at the top. Obviously, he writes the checks, but the flip, I suppose, side of it is if they're coming to him saying, this is, Critchy saying, this is a player we've identified, this is who I want, and he's signing it off and writing the checks, he's listening to those people and all right, yeah, he's employed them. But it's not necessarily just down to the man at the top, even though he's writing the checks. He's got people, managers and coaches saying these are the players we want. And we've now got a squad that was built for Critch being managed by somebody who wants to do it completely differently. So that's going to take a little bit of time to get to the point where he can say, I've got a 16 or a 17 or an 18 squad there of players that I'm comfortable with it are going to be starting or on the bench at least and be able to come off the bench and make a difference. And we absolutely don't really have that at the moment. We're kind of making subs and it's for the sake of it rather than this guy's going to come on off the bench and he's going to make a massive difference. They're not really at the moment because we don't have those players who can play in that 4-4-2.
Yeah, but just one of them things, Nick, on that. We could say this for the last 2 years, right? Critchley leaves. Oh, Appleton's not got his team. We've got to wait. Right now, McCarthy's not got his players. We've got to wait. Critchley's back. He's not got his players. We've got to wait. Bruce is in. He's not got his players. We've got to wait. There's the problem. We have no consistency in players at all. Everyone's just jumping in every 6 months and another set of players. It's just going to continue. But who's changing that, though? Who's changing that mentality? Because I'll tell you now, it ain't any of the people that are on that board or in that. They're not changing that mentality. That's the way it is. It's a strange old world, and we're not moving anywhere. We're stagnated, basically. We've stagnated over 2 years, but staying still means going backwards, as everyone knows. We're seeing it in real time. We're just falling backwards. I know the season's not over and everything. We could have gone a 3-game win. It's League One. We can go on 3, 4, 5-game win again, and all of a sudden we're all right again. But our weaknesses have easily been exposed in the last 3 games. We haven't got a squad of players again.
One thing that Nick
again
said
for 2 years running, we haven't got the players.
One thing Nick said just reminded me of what I saw at the weekend. 'Cause I turned on Oxford versus, who were they playing? There was another Blackpool player, Derby. Because I got so pissed off at watching the Peterborough game, so I watched a bit of Oxford. I wanted to see Owen Dale, and I wanted to see Jerry Yates in action. Nick said
and Cameron Brannigan, surely.
Yeah, I don't think he was playing actually. He was injured. He said that other teams don't sell the best players in the January transfer window. Well, we sold Owen Dale, and he was absolutely. He's been a very good acquisition for Oxford, and he looked very dangerous for Oxford when I watched the last 10, 15 minutes. So it's.
I think we probably sold him because he wasn't happy here, wasn't he?
Well, we weren't playing wingers either, were we? And look now, you'd be absolutely crying out for him, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
And I think part of that comes to, it's a fair point Raggy made that each time we've got to get to the next window and it's a different manager. But I think we've been quite, not all over the place, but if you look at who we've appointed, it's kind of not really consistent in terms of, some clubs, they'll have a coach, a young up-and-coming coach, they'll move on and they'll appoint another young up-and-coming coach, and it's almost a bit of a seamless transition. Whereas
we got told, Nick, do you not remember?
All over we go from
Nick, when we got told it doesn't really matter who the head coach is. We've got a system and we stick to it. Yeah, coaches can come and go.
We've been very different in that. In the reality, it's kind of like, and I'm not. Don't get me wrong. I'm chuffed to have Steve Bruce as manager, but it was very left field, wasn't it, from a Critch type appointment, and then we went Appleton and then McCarthy, and it's like, well, hang on, what is the overall strategy here? It seems to be very, kind of one extreme to the other, which is then when you can end up with a squad of players that the new manager is like, well, I haven't really got the players or enough of them to play a system they want to play. So you then start looking to the next transfer window to replace a few of them.
It's the timings of all the managerial changes. Because you look when Appleton was relieved of his duties, wasn't it right at the end of the transfer window?
Well, he'd actually you could probably say we'd actually let him bring some of his own players in.
Right. And then he got
it would probably suit his system, and then he got potted. And I don't know.
Bruce coming in 2 days after Critchley. Critchley should have been shown the door close season. We wouldn't be in this mess.
I do
Possibly.
I think we would. I think we would be in this mess, though. I think we would be in it anyway. It's the continuation of things. But maybe Steve Bruce's didn't change, and it's like, right, here we go. Maybe they have got this thing set up that he's going to teach Keogh and Dobby and bring them through and give his experience, and they'll take over one day. But the surrounding thing to it all for me is where are we going as a football club? What's happening? We just keep getting told all the time, this is happening with a stand. This is happening with a training ground. That's not happening. But it's getting nowhere. It's just nowhere. We've just gone from Championship mid-table to League One mid-table. The same thing again. Don't know. We've got an owner who's got a court case coming up. We don't know. I know he's not forced to tell us anything about that, but it's quite important to our football club, the result of that. And what's the approach going forward? Where's the chief exec out saying it's all right, fellas? We've brought Steve Bruce in now. Yes, we've made mistakes in the past, but we've done this now. And in January, we're going to get there. We're going to do this. Where is it? Where's the buzz? Where's everything about the club and the town that's a buzz? It's nothing. It's negative. And they can blame the fans for creating negativity. And other fans can blame fans saying, you're always moaning, prices, this, that, and the other. That's just the way it is with football anyway, fans. Where's the leadership at the club coming out leading? Where's the leader? Who's the leader on the pitch? Who's the leader in the management team? Who's the leader in the club? Who's our leader? Who are the fans getting behind to lead us? There's no leader.
Don't get me wrong.
Simon Sadler's the leader, but he's not leading in that sense.
He's not.
Of getting us all at it, he's not. But I call him out to do it. Do something. Give it something. Give it something. Get this town at it again. We're just going to end up with 7,000 home fans, 6,500 home fans, That's where we're going.
We're in four figures now, Raggy. We're in four figures.
Right.
Let Brad have his say, Raggy. Put the Raggy down for a second.
He's having his rant. It's fine.
I'm bang at it, aren't I? I know.
I wish I had a penny for that glass. I'm telling you. Goodness me.
Yeah, fill it up. Fill it up, lad.
Fill it up, Piggy.
Bottoms up, good sir. No, the problem I've got is, I will always blame it from Sadler from the top. Now, there's certain things that Sadler has done that, and I'm forever grateful, and I am starting to feel like when we got promoted in 2020 and 21, I'm starting to feel like, was it more of a fluke? Was we just had the right chemistry, the right players, the right coach at the time, and we had the right league at the time to be able to get that promotion? And with Lincoln being terrible. But the problem I have is whether Simon's got a net worth, whether I don't know the ins and outs of the guy. You know, I've got admiration for him. He took us out of a bad place from the Sadler regime. But my problem is he came in with a load of promises, like the
from the Oyster regime.
Yes. Freudian slip there.
Yeah, I tell you what, I wish I could say that was a Timism. It's the drink. I'm blaming the drink. I'm emotional. It's when he said that he'd do the training ground, he'll bring everything back up to speed. Then COVID, and now that he said that the training ground isn't happening, we needed an infrastructure in place to develop youth players. And I feel like that's an avenue that I thought we was going down when Sadler took over and he got Critch involved. I feel like we've put that on the back burner, got Steve Bruce in, and to be fair to Steve, he's got these set of players. He knew what he had when he signed the dotted line. He felt so that he could get the team. And the first 11, 100% could take on any team in the league. But I'm blaming recruitment because they didn't get the in-depth that we need to be able to sustain in the league. It's as simple as that. And I will blame Sadler for that. And it's Sadler's issue that in terms of that Swansea geezer, because he thinks he acts like one, and it's like, well, where have you come from? Seriously, you know.
He's come from Swansea, and he'll tell you if you speak to him.
I know he tells you.
You should be thankful. You should be thankful and grateful for it. Listen, at the end of the day, listen, it was no fluke getting promoted, right? What happened was we had an identity and we had a purpose and we had direction. We had an owner that came in that bought the club, that wanted good things for it and invested money. We had people on the board that were Blackpool fans, that were good people, that were promoting it around the town and understood Blackpool people. We brought a chief exec in who was experienced at big clubs like Leeds, Barnsley, Tel Aviv, experienced. We bought players that other clubs wanted, the likes of Jerry Yates and CJ Hamilton at that level. We brought them here. And we had a positivity about the town, the club, that resonated across the fan base, that transferred onto the terraces, that created an atmosphere that was great to play in. Now, COVID came along, I understand that at the same time, but the positivity was still there in the whole town. It was all there. And that drove people through. We end up promoted, we go into the championship, and then you've got the result of it all. The ground becomes an absolute fantastic place to play in. Absolutely. That no one wants to come to because it was bouncing. It wasn't by fluke. It wasn't just because the stars aligned. It was because certain people and certain characters created that mentality through the club and through the fan base. Exactly when Holloway was here. It's not by fluke. It's because he created that mindset between players that resonated with fans that got behind it. And this town works best on that than any other town and club in this country. You get behind it and let's go. And it's the same as anything. I've said it all my life. You say you're going out tonight with your mates and you tell all your mates, everyone's out. Guess what happens? Everyone comes out. because they think, oh, I'm not missing out. Everyone comes out for a drink. And that's the same with the club. We're going up. We're going up. We're going up. I know they can't come out with that phrase, we're going up, but we're going to try. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. We're going to do that. It gets everyone behind it. It's brilliant. And it just sends them. We go on that roller coaster ride in this town. And it's over and over again. And the history, people love statistics these days, don't they? Stats. What do the stats say? Well, the stats say every time we get promoted, it's through the playoffs. Every time we get in the playoffs, we win. Why? Because we turn up for a party and the other team turn up nervous as fuck. Pardon my French. Nervous as hell. They turn up and they don't want it and they're on the edge, aren't they? And we're just bouncing around and partying and come on, little old Blackpool, here we are. We're going to do you. And it works. It's there. There's your evidence. It's all there. And that's what happened when Sadler came in here. Created positivity. Got the right people around that created positivity right through the club. It's not like that now.
Loads of people then decided they didn't like Ben Mansfield and he was at fault for everything. And
no, of course, but that came on the back end of a poor set of decisions, right? Fine. Then you need the leader, Nick, don't you? Then you need your leader to come out and say, this is why, but this is what we're going to do properly. This is where we're going to change. We're going to move on from there. There's none of that. It's just replace. Nothing said. Boom. We've replaced with lesser people. Is Swansea Julian as good as Ben Mansfield? Not a chance in the world. No chance.
I suppose he's got a job, to be fair.
Is there anyone in there now with the character and the passion of Brett Geraghty? No chance. Not there. Have we got a manager that's got a structure for the club, or a strategy? No. Not got any of it. Not buying into it. Have we got fans that are absolutely behind what's going on and turn up with passion on a match day? No. A lot of people, you'll know them yourself. A lot of your mates are like, "Oh, God, I'm just going because I'm going today."
Oh,
and
yeah. Look at Gate.
I know
it's easy, Raggy. 7 to 8.
I know, exactly. And I know it's easy to swing from a few games ago. We were winning. Everyone's going, here we go. We pissed the league and all that. I know that. Football changes like that, doesn't it? But it's our squad and team is built on sand. And a storm comes along and wrecks us with no foundation to it. It didn't wreck us a couple of years ago because we had a foundation, we had a strategy, we were building. We off we went. So when we lost a game in the championship, back at it next week, ground's bouncing. Come on, let's do these. Done, beat them, finish with whatever points in the championship. I can't remember now, 60 odd. Great, so we're an established championship club. But it's all gone now. Now one defeat leads to the next defeat leads to the next defeat. Because it's not there. It's built on sand. There's nothing there underneath it. There's no foundation in that club in terms of the squad. Now, like I said before, I just want to know what's going on with the club. Where are we going? What's our ambition?
I think where do we go? We need to get the players back fit and ready to go and try and keep that starting 11.
Of course, but think about what you're saying. We need to get the players fit. 11, 12 games into the season in League One, we need to get the players fit. It's just, we've said it for years. What is it?
I mean,
Lee Evans actually is partly counter to what I'm saying here, but Lee Evans has been predominantly an injury-prone player all his career. Comes here and he's played all them games because he's enjoying it and he doesn't get injured then. And that's the mentality that happens, isn't it? You start enjoying it. Oh, you're not injury prone anymore. Jordan Gabriel's not been injured, has he? Injured all last season, wasn't enjoying it. This season, enjoying it, not injured at all. It happens.
It's an interesting point.
But it's the evidence is there. There's evidence for it over years gone by. There's all that, but I can't see how we're going to just miraculously turn into a promotion-winning football club without some sort of proper leadership, proper positive mentality coming out of that football club from someone. And it ain't happening through the CEO, the sports science guy, the recruitment guy, the secretary. It's not happening. It needs to come from Simon Sadler. I fear it's not going to come from Simon Sadler.
Any positives at the moment? It's not Critchball, at least.
Any positives? Yeah, listen. Of course, it's been a lot better, hasn't it? But in terms of that, at least we seemed like we were trying to win games. Tuesday night accepted. I don't think. Having said that, first 20 minutes, you're right. We were the better team. So it might just be a real bad night at the races. But the positivity is long term for me. I'm not. What's the long term positivity? How do you see us in May jumping around someone's away ground because we've been promoted with 2 games to go, or bouncing because we're getting the playoffs? How do you see that happening when we're so weak when it comes to we concede a late goal and then that's it for a couple of games with heads are gone and that consistency is not there.
The Mansfield and the Barnsley game, I think they were close calls. You know, I do agree with that. I think we're venting our frustration out on the absolute shithouse of a performance. What was yesterday? Be the excuses what they'll be, and I hope everything goes well with Steve and with Brucey and everything, and I hope the condolences to the family and everything. You know, I do think the team is affected by it because they were showing the togetherness when Steve was mentioning in after the games how he's got this group of players working together, caring about how to play football and everything. I'm just on the impression, that their mentality and their positives is shattered as because of it. But the tactics were all wrong. On Tuesday, they were completely and utterly wrong. The players were placed in the wrong places. Yes, we've got injuries. Yes, we've got confidence issues like Fletcher and everything else, which is, I'll keep mentioning Fletcher. But when you've got the likes of Joseph on the pitch, giving it 150% and putting an absolute shift in, I do honestly believe that we've got hope in this squad. We really do. Tyra, I know we're slating Tyra as well because he's doing things that we haven't seen him normally do. But let's think for a second. We've just signed a keeper after losing Grimmy. Not sure what this guy was like. Then he's making absolute monstrous bloody saves that actually thought, you know what, you've kept us in the game here. And he's just been shot of confidence a little bit and needs to be built up again to be able to do those sort of saves again. And we need to get the back four rolling and supporting and the midfield as well, because those two are not clicking at the moment. It's not a write-off for the season in any way, stretch of the imagination, because, yeah, we're currently sitting in 16th, but there is no reason why we can't have another 4-game winning streak, and then all of a sudden we're 8th, and then before Christmas we're in a better place. It's not a problem at all. We're just venting because we played poorly. I think we'd be having a bit of a different conversation had it been 5-4 and we gave it a good go and we thought, you know what, lads, you gave it a good go. It is what it is. We didn't get the points that we needed at Peterborough, and we did play away. I think it would be a lot worse if we was playing at home.
I think for me, it was the fact that towards the end of the game, Peterborough were just treating it like it was a training game, and they kind of could have scored whenever they wanted. And it summed it up for me when they were scoring the 4th and the 5th. Their fans were barely even celebrating. It was that one-sided in that.
John, there was no bloody fans there. Did you see it on the TV? Jesus Christ, you had an empty stand.
Yeah. Just before we go, then, I think you are correct, Brad, that maybe we are looking at this 3-game spell through the lens of what we saw at London Road on Tuesday night. We have got a chance to rectify this against Wigan at home on now Monday, was Saturday. Nick, I think this is the perfect opportunity to put this 3-game spell to bed. Right, we've only been outplayed really in 1 game, as Brad said. The last 2 games could have gone either way, and I think if we show up and put a performance in against Wigan, and obviously with Steve Bruce back at the helm, that's a reason to be a bit more positive, and with Evans back as well. So,
yeah, and they're certainly beatable. I was looking on their forum, and there's quite a lot of criticism of their manager as well. So some of their fans aren't happy with what's happening there. So, like you say, it's just who of the first 11. If it's the strongest first 11, then yeah, I don't see any reason why not. Evans will be back. I don't know if Steve Bruce will be back. To be fair, I've not heard anything, and I wouldn't blame him if he wasn't. I know you'll have talked about this at the start of the show, but can't begin to imagine, what he's going through, and football will probably be the last thing on his mind at the moment. So we will see. But CJ, hopefully, if he's back, because he can be a consistent, but just in terms of the system and formation we play, he's a massive part of it with his pace out on the wing. So yeah, there's no reason why we can't get a positive result, and then everything looks a lot rosier again, doesn't it? Like we said, it was really poor the other night, but there is some mitigation in that. So we can get that first 11 out on Monday night, then there's no reason why we can't pick up 3 points.
Yeah. One topic of conversation before we head off, gentlemen. FA Cup round 1 draw last week. Also, when Gillingham came out first, we were quite late out of the hat. I was like, right, this is it. Gillingham away. Could it have got any crapper?
Probably not. No.
No. The single worst game we could have drawn, and we did it.
We'll go smash them 4-0.
Yeah, we don't do very well.
Absolutely.
Sorry, I'm drinking the Raggiade at the moment.
It's another game that's certainly winnable, isn't it?
All right.
But yeah, I can't imagine it's one that many fans will be making the trip down for.
Anyone been to Gillingham away? I have. I saw Harvey Lim wrestling with Andy Garner on the floor.
I was at that.
Were you really?
We lost. Did we lose 3-2? Was it 3-2? David Ayres scored an absolute worldie in the top corner from about 30 yards. Peter Beadle scored a couple for them and then got a move to Tottenham. Amazingly. Yeah, this is a sort. I can't remember what I had for my tea yesterday, but I can remember stuff like that from 30 years ago. It was a hell of a trek down. There was a good following from Blackpool actually. There is YouTube footage of it if you want to go on there and have a look. See me and John in the way end. It was quite a decent following. Very hot day from memory. Yeah,
those were the sort of days when you went on coach travel, wasn't it? When you had nothing, not a care in the world.
Yeah.
Or responsibilities, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I went with Matt Smith to that. But yeah, it's not a great draw. But again, it's winnable, isn't it? You never know.
Live to tell the tale.
Of a defeat.
Right, I think we'll leave it there then. I think we've all needed a good rant and a moan after what's happened over the last 3 games. Let's hope we put it right against Wigan. They'll have a decent following, but I think it takes the edge off it, doesn't it? The fact that it's a
hate Wigan with a passion. We need to smash Wigan. I hate them with a passion.
Why is that?
Bad pie. I had a bad pie once.
It's obviously the Premier League and all that, but I had a very close friend who was a Wigan fan. And he was just an outright knobhead at the end of it. So I just, decided that I'm going to hate Wigan. So, and when they went down and got relegated, I celebrated as if we got promoted. So that's just me.
I've just got a rational hatred of Reading. I just always have.
Oh, Reading's a shit.
There's nothing to wrong me, but it's just a...
I have of Chesterfield, funnily enough.
Have you?
That's a strange one.
Not like Chester, yeah.
We always used to lose there, Aggie. Always 1-0 as well.
I think that's what happened. I've been that many times, but just
Luke Beckett as well. Luke Beckett, he always used to score.
Kevin Davis, twat. But all of them, Saltergate, the whole thing was just
open terrace, piss wet through.
Yeah,
takes longer to get there than you think.
When I was a kid, about 8 or 9, I saw a Blackpool fan get his nose broke outside a chippy there in a fight. And I think ever since then, it's like, right, these lot have got to have it, haven't they? Chesterfield.
Oh, God.
That's bad memories on me.
Right. We'll leave it there, shall we? Good chat as always. I think might do a preview against Wigan because I'm on good terms with their podcast. He's a decent guy. So Nick, any irrational hatred of a quick team quickly in 30 seconds?
Wrexham. Well, it's
Why
not
is that?
irrational. Me and Graham got jumped by a load of them at their place. Going back to his
It
car.
always comes down to a bit of violence, doesn't it?
I know. Not 20, only 2 of us. And he vanned up, scratched Wrexham on the roof of his car as well, the tossers. So, yeah, not a massive fan of them. We'll be hoping it's Boxing Day, isn't it?
You're going to be there Boxing Day, aren't you?
Oh,
You're going to be there Boxing Day.
We can get a ticket, yeah. I think they'll be in high demand.
All right, we'll scratch something. We'll scratch Seaside's podcast into one of their cards.
Yeah.
Right, we'll leave. We'll leave it there. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for downloading. Thanks for watching Up the Pool. Up the Pool.
He's been involved in 2. Can he make 3? Not on this occasion. Well taken by Walsh. Davis is on the far side. Ainsko coming square. That's the ball. That's a good try!